Hello, everybody. I guess if we're here, it must be Tuesday evening. Not a lot gets by me. Whoops, sorry. Hang on. I got to mute some YouTubes. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. Thank you, Rhonda. Rhonda says she loves our intro. I like it too. I think it's pretty awesome. Hi, Justine. It's great to see you. Great to have you both here in my chat. First of all, I want to say hello to Kay and Susan and Jack. It's great to have you guys here as always. Thank you for being here with us, or with me. Kay, do you want to say hello real quick to everybody, or however long you want to take?
Hey, hello real quick to everybody.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. So I'm not gonna lie, everybody. I've just been in a what do you call it, rabbit hole all day. Tonight was supposed to be pretty straightforward and easy. We were just going to read the police report for Kala Lyles. And then after I was listening to Bates' podcast, I thought, you know what? I'm just going to let him tell about Kala Lyles. And I'll tell you why in just a second. First thing I want to do, though, is tell everybody thank you so much. I'm at 500 subscribers. I've been pretty solid at 500 for a couple of days. And the algorithms and the viewer and all those little numbers, if you know anything about analytics and stuff, are going up. They look really good. I'm pretty excited about that. Pretty proud of us. And but I just, no harm in asking everybody, make sure that you're subscribed. And there's been some comments, that people are making on different videos and things. So that's awesome. And so I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed. And, on your way in, if you haven't already, make sure you like this and like also over on Foul Play. But back to my rabbit hole, it's I just decided I'm going to let Bates tell it, because Kala Lyles is pretty. I say this about everybody, that everybody's story is twisted and crazy. I don't know. First of all, hers is really gross, or the language that she uses is really gross. And we're going to hear some of that. I, for whatever reason, forgot that Kala Lyles has a recorded interview with Kim Davis. I know I've listened to it right after, whenever it was, I listened to it, because it's the second to the last one that Brian Bates put out before he went on hiatus. And so I, for whatever reason, forgot that there's a recorded interview. So what we're going to do tonight, instead of me and Kay and Jack and Susan trying to tear it all down and put it back together again for all of you guys, we're going to listen to it. And if you haven't listened to it, it's about 20 minutes long, I guess. The interview's 23 minutes long. So it's not very long. But I'm going to go ahead and just get that started and let you guys have a listen to it. And I don't have any pictures or anything for y'all. I just got the thing itself. So that's what we're at. Okay.
On September 12th, Detective Davis placed a telephone call to a Mr. Edwin Smith. He's the man Sherry Ellis was cheating on her then boyfriend with. Smith confirms that Ellis told him previously that she had been raped, but it was by a black police officer. On the same day, Detective Davis instructs another officer to compile a list of all females Officer Holtzclaw encountered on June 17th and 18th of 2014. This list will, for the first time, reveal the name of the teenage accuser whose DNA has already been located on the fly of Holtzclaw's uniform pants. 3 days later, on September 15th, Detective Davis interviews accuser Sherry Ellis's live-in boyfriend at the time, Terry Mack. Mack told Detective Davis that on the night of the alleged rape, Ellis did tell him that she was raped, but again, she says it's by a black male police officer. In the midst of all of this, Oklahoma City Police sex crimes detectives Kim Davis and Rocky Gregory are still actively pursuing even more alleged victims. The day after speaking with Terry Mack, Detective Davis receives a phone call from probation and parole officer Jack Bowling on September 16th. Bowling says that he is an offender on probation in his office by the name of Kala Lyles, and that she claims that she too has been raped by Officer Daniel Holtzclaw. Davis tells Bowling to keep her there and that she is en route to interview her. Shortly thereafter, Detectives Davis and Homan arrive at 1131 West Sheridan and met with 29-year-old Kala Lyles in a small conference room. The following is the audio recording from that interview and was obtained exclusively by Bates Investigates. As with most of these investigative interviews, the audio very much has an echo. I've tried to clean it up as much as possible. This interview is approximately 23 minutes long, and I will be discussing the relevant facts in the next episode.
Sit. Where are you going to sit? You want to sit right? Okay. Are you standing, Kim, or get me to ride? Or where? Oh, she's shutting the door. Whoa.
Yeah.
Why did you call me?
I had lost the card.
I'm gonna take notes and I'm gonna record because we forget work. We're old and we have to do it. All right. I know who you are, Kala Lyles. What are you on probation for?
I think it was CDS and marijuana.
CDS with intent and marijuana, and I don't care. So I'm just asking these. How long have you been on probation?
For about 2.5 years.
Why didn't I look that up? How long's Jack been your probation officer?
For about 1.5 years.
How old are you?
29.
When was your last appointment with Jack?
Last month on the 9th.
What is today? September, so August 9th?
19th.
August 19th? Do you come every month?
Yes.
So then did you go in July?
No. No, I don't think so.
Did you miss or did you?
I think I missed.
What about June?
I went in that day.
What did you tell him today for me to come down here?
I told him that I was in a process when I trying to recover from what that officer had sex abused me, raped me.
Just to point out, if she made her June appointment, we can assume that it was around the 19th of June because that's typically the day of the month that she's due to go to probation. So if that's the case, this was the day after she was allegedly sexually assaulted by Daniel.
Have you told anybody before you told Jack?
No, but my mom.
Did you tell your mom after I met with her or before?
I think after.
Because was she questioning why I was looking for you?
Yeah.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take notes, but you walk us through that day or that night. Was it daytime or nighttime?
It was nighttime.
Do you remember what month it was?
No, let's get you one.
Okay. Tell me, where were you walking?
I was walking down 16th. and heading from a friend's house.
Okay, when you say you were walking down 16th, were you going east or west? What street?
East.
You were walking east?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he stopped me, and that's what I was doing. And I was telling him I was looking from a friend's house. And so he ran my name.
On the radio or the computer?
I believe it was on the computer. And he seen that I was clear. And then he asked me, could he give me a ride home? And I was like, no, I'd rather walk because me and my boyfriend was arguing that night. And
Why did you want to walk?
because I wanted just to take a walk, give me a little thinking time for me and my boyfriend from arguing.
Did you tell him that, or were you just saying, I just would rather walk?
I told him that.
You told him you had a fight with your boyfriend?
Yeah, and he was like trying to refuse to let me walk.
When you say he was trying to refuse, what did he say that made you feel like he was trying to refuse?
He was like, it's too late at night for you to be out here, and it really wasn't that late. And it was like, let me just give you a ride. I was already in the back seat of the police car. So he said, I'm going to head and take you on that so I know that's where you're going. And I asked him.
So I know where you're going?
Yeah. And so he asked him to take me halfway, and
you asked him to take you
halfway.
Why halfway?
Because it looked in the neighborhood there where I was at, it looked strange for a police that is to take me somewhere, and I didn't want to get that rep on me.
I don't blame you.
And he acted like he was going to stop and let me out, but he kept on going and took me between these buildings.
Okay, hang on a second. When he's taking you, which is he driving on 16th, or did he go down a different street?
He went down 16th.
East or west?
East.
And then where did he go?
And then he went like a block off of 16th and went into a vacant school building part and parked between them. He searched me.
Hang on. So a vacant school building. Did he park like in the parking lot of the vacant school building?
He drew over in the grass part in the buildings, between the buildings of it.
So he parked between the buildings?
Yeah.
Okay, go real slow then. What happened?
And he opened the car door and he just started searching me.
Were you still sitting in the car, or had you get out to search?
He told me to get out, but I didn't get all the way out. And then
show me kind of what you did. Like, pretend this is the seat of the scout car.
I was just sitting on the edge trying to finish getting out, but he was standing right there, grabbing on his dick, and he said, "I bet that pussy is wet."
Okay, hang on a second. So when you're sitting on the edge, are your feet in the police car, or are they on the ground outside the police car? And you said he was grabbing on his dick. Was it still inside of his pants?
Yeah, at the time it was.
And tell me what he said to you?
I bet that pussy is wet.
What did you say?
I didn't say nothing. I was just shocked that he said it. And then that's when he started proceeding of pulling his pants down and made me give him head.
And did he pull his pants down? How far?
Like halfway, because I felt his some kind of like a gun or something. It kept hitting my backside.
How's it hitting your backside when you're giving him head?
No, I'm just saying after I gave him head.
Okay, let's talk about the head first. Did he pull his pants down for the head?
He pulled him just halfway.
Was his penis erect when it came out of his pants, or
it was hard?
He had a hard on. Did he say anything to put it, or did he just put it in your mouth?
It was basically as he was like forcing me when I didn't know what to do. I was scared, and I didn't want him to do nothing more or threaten me or anything.
Did he threaten you?
Only thing he had said was like, tomorrow night I want to see you again.
Was that, when did he say that? After all of it was done?
Yeah.
Okay, well, so he just put it in your mouth.
Yes, it was making me trying to suck him.
How long did he keep it in your mouth?
Not very, very long. It was just like a nippers. I think he was like rushing and paranoid.
You think he was what?
Like he was rushing and like he was kind of.
Hurrying up.
Yeah.
When it was in your mouth, was he moving it in and out? Are you still sitting in the car?
Yeah, until he told me to bend over.
Okay, so did he stop? He took it out of your mouth. Then what did he say?
He said, pull my pants down, and he was like, let me see if you got anything hiding or stuffed up in there. And
He said that after he put it in your mouth?
after he finished that, done put them in my mouth. And
Then he said,
do you say, now let me pull your pants down and let me see if you ain't got nothing stuffed in there or whatnot.
okay, so where did you pull your pants to?
I just pulled them halfway.
Did you stand up to do that?
Yeah, I had to.
So did he look and see if you had anything?
Yeah.
How did he do that?
Because he sucked on me and whatnot, and then had me open my shirt and open my panties and stuff.
Was that before or after he had you pull your pants down?
Well, when he told me to give him some head, he had searched me, like halfway searched me, and then he told me to finish up searching myself. And then that's when he started telling me to give him some head, and then after he stopped.
Okay, let me get my orders right. So when had he started playing with his dick before or after he had peeking at your shirt and all that stuff?
That was before. He was playing with himself before he had me do that.
Okay, so he's playing with himself. Then does he start feeling on you, or does he put his penis in your mouth?
He just try to look at my boobs, and then that's when he put his penis in my mouth.
Did he touch your boobs?
No, but he just pulled, he just did like that kind of touch.
So he touched them like this?
Yeah, but after that he told me like just to pull my shirt backwards when I.
So he touched your boobs before he put his penis in your mouth?
Yeah, and then he put it in.
Did he have you show your boobs before he put it in?
Yes.
Okay. Did he have you show your panties before he put it in your mouth?
No.
Okay, so he felt.
Hey, just real quick, Jack would probably have a better knowledge of it. I'm just trying to learn. I don't know if this falls under fair use or not. So I'm going to pause just in case, especially for Jack's purpose, for foul play. I meant to stop sooner and ask you guys to pay close attention to the description of her clothing that she's giving. Because when we play the next episode 23, which we'll play here again tonight, things are going to be a little bit different than what is being discussed right now as for what she's wearing. So pants and a shirt and a bra and panties and all that stuff. So Jack, what do you think? Is this fall under fair use? Am I able to use this without having to stop for commentary?
Typically speaking, 3 minutes is your limit on playing a clip. but it doesn't specifically say that, but I've seen others put that in various other forums forums and so forth discussing it. So we try to limit ourselves to 3 minutes, which again, if we don't get to monetize, we don't, it's fine. Don't worry about it. You play it however you want to play it, and then
Okay.
pause for rebuttal. It's fine.
So as far as foul play, it's just a matter of whether you'd be able to monetize or not.
Yeah. If it's, I mean, it really really depends on the whoever's presenting the interview. Sometimes it just depends on the entity. Sometimes there's no algorithm within YouTube that claims it, so it's
Okay.
open. More
Okay.
oftentimes than not, there is a conflict. So, but if there is, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay. All right. We're just about halfway through this.
Your boobs and looked at your boobs, and then he put his penis in your mouth.
Yeah.
Okay. Then he takes his penis out of your mouth and he tells you to pull your pants down because he needs to check.
Mhm.
Then what was the next thing he did?
That's when he told me to pull my pants down and bend over.
Okay. So are you leaning against his car or?
I was halfway inside the back seat and with my legs on the ground.
So your upper body is it kind of laying in the seat? Okay, what happened?
And he did he was fucking me for a while when
In your vagina or in your bottom?
in my vagina.
Okay.
And after that, I guess he was through. I guess he had a call or something, and I walked home from there.
Did he wear a condom?
No,
Did he come?
no,
How do you know?
because I didn't have nothing like liquids in my
You didn't have
inside me.
anything draining out?
Yeah,
How long do you think his penis was in your vagina?
I want to say about 5 or 10 minutes.
How did it end? I mean,
What caused
when
him
he
to stop?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he just had a call or something, or I guess people start driving down the street from a distance from he could see, and I don't know
What did he say when he was done?
that I want to see you tomorrow night around the same time.
What'd you say to him?
I just told him like, okay, and I just rushed walking home.
Did he follow you or anything?
No, I think he sat there for a minute.
So how far did you have to walk then?
About that time, I was at my boyfriend's house, and it wasn't but like I want to say about a mile.
Did you tell your boyfriend?
Immediately when I got to the house,
What's his name?
James Anderson.
Huh?
James Anderson.
I gotta talk to him. And I can talk to him over the phone if he feels more comfortable. How do I get a hold of him?
He have a cell phone. It's 9.
Is he a black male?
Yes.
Do you know when his birthday is?
Yes, January 73.
What did James say when you told him?
Told me to call the police immediately.
Why didn't you?
I was scared.
And that's fine. Did you ever tell anybody else?
No, not until y'all had came and my mom.
Had you seen that officer before this contact ever before?
Yes, I was driving my boyfriend's car and we got pulled over and I didn't have a license and he's on my city tickets.
How long before was that? Before this stop?
I think it was about almost a year, maybe almost a year.
And he wrote you some tickets?
Yeah.
Were you with anybody when you were driving your boyfriend's car?
Just my boyfriend.
Same boyfriend, James Anderson? And so he gave you some tickets
Yeah.
and let you go?
Yeah.
Have you seen him after that stop?
Probably just in the area
But
driving.
not ever contact with you?
No.
He didn't see you the next night when he asked to see you again?
No, I stayed in.
Any other contacts before the tickets?
No.
What made you finally come to call today?
It was, I knew it was like almost like a deadline, and I've been watching the news, and I guess it's like if nobody else like will come forward with him, they would probably let him go, and I didn't want that to happen.
So do you know any of the other victims?
No, not offhand.
Have you talked to this about any of the girls?
No,
Like, has any other girls said that happened to me, or do you know of any other?
no.
Do you have any clothes that haven't been washed? That, like what you were wearing that night, have you washed those clothes, or have you not washed those clothes?
I'll have to go through them and see.
Do you remember what you were wearing?
Really, I don't.
Can you tell me to give me a little bit of time? You've only had contact with them twice, tickets, and then this time. Was it summer months? Was it warm outside?
It was warm.
It was warm. I'm going to take a DNA sample from you. Are you fine with that? Okay. It's just Q-tips on the inside of your mouth. Have you had that done before?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any questions of us?
No.
Kayla is Kala
Yes.
Lyles.
Yes.
I'm filling out this form. We're 1131.
Yes, that's sure.
This is you allowing me to just take a DNA sample. And you will sign that and date that. And this is, if you want to read it, you can read it. You don't have to let me do this, but you're letting me do that without a search warrant. You don't have any questions?
No, not right now.
Do you have any, when someone's a victim of a sex crime, whether the bad guy's a policeman or a regular person, the Y offers free counseling. Are you interested in any of that?
Yeah, I guess I do.
I'm going to give you my card today, and you can call me because I don't think I have any Y stuff with me, and you can call me, and I'll get you the information and the number you need to call for some free counseling, okay? Open. Is James the one that brought you in here today?
No.
Who was your ride?
My rider is my neighbor.
Did they stay or?
They still out there.
Okay. Do you have a phone?
Yes.
Where are you living?
I stay with my mom on 101st and Hasley.
Where we found your parents?
Yeah.
You're staying there?
Yeah.
Give me the address.
1 North Hasley.
H-A.
Hasley.
And what's your cell phone number?
405 566.
Do you remember anything out of the norm that we should know about? Anything on his body, his person, his penis?
Oh, I know what I want to ask you.
No, other than he have tattoos
He does. Where were his tattoos?
on his arms.
Do you remember what it looked like?
With just designs like this.
That's one thing I didn't get from you. I know you said you've been watching the news. Have you seen his pictures on the news?
I saw it once. Every time it then came on, I missed it. But like last week when they showed it again, when he was in court, that's when I saw his face, and it was him.
Okay. And so he has tattoos, and you pointed to is it on this arm?
I think he had them on both arms, if I'm not mistaken.
And it was just designs?
Yeah, it just like little markings.
Did he take his shirt off for you to see that, or
No, you can see it.
under his sleeve?
Yeah.
I know what I didn't ask when you said when he was behind you, something was hitting you.
Yeah, I don't know if it was his walkie-talkie or his gun, or I don't know what it was.
Where was it hitting on your body?
It was like on my butt part. When he
Your
was
left or right side?
my left-hand side.
Did you say anything to him about it?
After a while, when I noticed he wasn't going to stop, I did.
What'd you say?
I was like, something to keep poking me. And he was like, he said some remark. I can't remember, but he just continued doing it.
So was it a smart aleck remark, or was
Like he wasn't paying attention to me.
he saying anything while he was doing it to you?
Like, oh yeah, just moaning and stuff.
You got any questions? Okay, I'm going to give you my card. I'm going to give you a couple since you lost the last one. There. You call me, and I'll get you in touch with some counseling. Okay? Do you need anything else? Your ride's still here?
Yeah, go right to it.
You want to grab Jack while I take it? Because I think he has to walk you out.
Yeah.
I don't know what the rules are here. Thank you, Kayla. Thanks for having the guts and strength to come forward.
Detective Davis returns to police headquarters to request additional information to corroborate Kala Lyles' allegations. The first thing she looks for are when the police records show that Officer Holtzclaw may have indeed had contact with Lyles. This includes things like police database searches, tickets or arrests, calls to dispatch, and patrol car AVL. Detective Davis is able to confirm at least 3 contacts Officer Holtzclaw most likely had with Lyles over the span of 3 months, from April to June of 2014. More importantly, she finds patrol car AVL or GPS, and it indicates Officer Holtzclaw drove Lyles to the same abandoned school or park where accuser Ellis says she was taken almost a month and a half before Lyles. Despite the damning nature of this new evidence, there are serious discrepancies that shouldn't have been ignored, but were. I'll save those details for the next episode. If you want to see all of the police reports and other documents used to compile this episode, please visit this.
Okay. So,
Wow. Okay, so
Yeah.
she says why the assault stopped, she thinks is because he got another call, or maybe he saw someone coming.
yeah.
Now they're back where Sherry Ellis alleges that he took her.
Yes. Exactly.
I noticed that your favorite detective she just couldn't help herself. She just couldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, and it wasn't just one question. It was many questions. Many. Far more than was necessary. I'm not a cop, obviously. I'm just saying to get the gist of, what was going on. It was too much and too graphic.
I thought a lot of it was leading.
It was. No doubt.
That's her
Yeah.
style.
It is. Leading and inquisitive. but Daniel's junk.
Yeah. Yeah. She makes she makes all of us sick, Mazzy. She's disgusting in every level.
It's so cringy. It's just cringe.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. It's just, and I realize that, I try to remember that she's speaking to these people on the level that they speak. I get it. But still, oh God, I just can't. Can you imagine a male detective repeating those kinds of things to a female?
They'd be ran out. They'd be ran out on a rail.
There's just no way.
On a rail, tied down and taken to the fires of hell to get roasted in front of everyone. There's just no way. The thing is, and I'll shut up with how Rhonda, Kay, Cherie, one of you, Susan, tell me how long Detective Davis has been in the sex crimes unit or whatever. Been a long time, right? Like a decade or?
Well,
by 15
ahead,
years or something like that?
Yeah,
13, 15?
Yeah, I was thinking 15 years. So with that said, you would think in that period of time, there would have been seminars and various other specialized classes that she would have went to as to how to speak to a potential victim.
They don't have classes.
Well, they probably do. Yeah. She just doesn't go because she knows. She knows better.
Well, and she says, and I believe in a deposition, I think she makes that claim that they don't have, she says, straight up says that they don't really do classes or, anything that we have to do every year or anything like that to.
I found that really difficult to believe without doing my own research. I'm just calling shenanigans on that. Because that is such a specialized section, area of law. It has to be. I mean, to me, it has to be handled differently than your, robbery and various other crimes that police have to deal with, murder. I don't believe her. I just don't.
Butch trained her.
Which we cannot, yeah, and that was, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he killed himself in June of 2008, if I'm not mistaken. So she had been a sex crimes detective with him for some time. So
seems like it might have been 2003, but it's in there somewhere.
Yeah, she at least 15 years. At least 15 years. She had been in
the sex crimes unit.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was 15 years, but I couldn't remember for sure. Okay. Well, again, this being a specialized area of law enforcement, I don't believe her. This is just my opinion. I'm not saying Rhonda or Kay or anyone else on Rhonda's channel believes that. I just don't believe her.
It's right. Well,
I find it interesting when Kimna asked her why did she come forward now, and she says to make sure that he gets convicted.
Yeah, that's an interesting answer.
Which is not the only person that said that. The one that admitted to lying said the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shanice Barksdale. But Shanice Barksdale came out right. She went in right after Liggins made her statement. And so that fit, so I don't know if I'm going to have to look into that. We're going to have to check it out more, but I don't know if it was put on the news about Barksdale lying or, I don't know about that. I don't know how she would have known that except that.
She wouldn't have had to have known that. It's just, they got to get this guy. That's not right. He shouldn't be doing that. They don't have to hear somebody else say it in order to repeat that.
No, you're
But
right.
we also find out later that she's friends with Terry Morris.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So if she's friends with Terry Morris, it's possible that she could be she uses drugs. She's a drug user. She buys and sells and uses drugs. I'm just anybody over in that part of town that is anywhere near 14th and Jordan, where Tabitha Barnes lived, is suspicious to me. Plus, on the back side of Liberty Station, Liberty Station Apartments, where um, Terry Morris and Shadarian Hill and other, of these accusers frequent that area. There's also another drug house behind Liberty Station Apartments that also. Now they're like over by Lindsay 20, I think Liberty Station's on 24th and Lindsay, if I'm not mistaken. That when you look at it on the map, on the Google Earth Pro map, it looks like it's really far away. But when we were driving around in Oklahoma City and driving those locations, they're really a lot closer than what they seem like just when you're looking at Google Earth. It's just anytime any of these accusers that are stopped anywhere near that vicinity of 16th, 15th, Jordan, Lottie's not that far away from Jordan, really. It makes me, I have to question whether they are at least, what do they call it, Cherie? And we, what's the word that they all say? They're not my boyfriend or my girlfriend or my best friend. Associates.
Yeah.
They're all associates of one another.
Who are your associates?
Yeah, exactly.
Just
and
being
no, but it's true, because they all, Tabitha Barnes says, that some of them were her associates, and then Florine Mathis said that, Tabitha Barnes was just her associate. So they're all associates, and they're all associated by drugs. And
Exactly.
Yeah, and I know that's kind of, going out on a limb to say that, but it's just true. It's just true. So anyway, yeah. So this part 23 is extremely informative. This episode 23, I mean. So it's a little bit longer, but like I said, Bates just did a much better job, taking this all apart and then, putting it back together the way it goes, and much better justice than I could do. He does better. I mean, he's better at it than I am with all of it, of course. And we like to kind of do our own, take from him what he's done and present whatever we're going to talk about. But he just, her story is so convoluted and so shady. I mean, she couldn't even in that 23-minute interview, she couldn't keep anything straight.
She sounds. I wonder, does she have any learning, like developmental disabilities, or is she like stoned all the time? Because I didn't remember her sounding as stoned as she does, and then it's even worse in her deposition.
Yeah, her deposition, she's really bad.
Well,
really bad.
They said that while they were waiting for the detectives to arrive at probation and parole office, they did a UA, which came back clean.
Yeah.
Now, whatever. I mean, I don't believe anything anymore that people say.
I don't either, not in this case.
I have a question, and because I just simply can't remember, out of all these, however many it went to trial, and their descriptions of their attacker or this cop, I know that one said that it was a short black guy. Was there another one that described basically the same way as black guy, or was it just the one?
No, Sherry Ellis is really the only one that definitively said it was a short black man.
What's her
Do you
name?
know?
Kala Lyles. She said
Kala
that it was a
Lyles.
black man that exposed himself to her, but that was like a year and a half prior. So,
Right.
Oh, Carla Raines.
Yeah. Well, she's
Okay.
also the one that said that she never even had an experience like that. So
how'd you get my name on something like this? Because I ain't really
Yeah.
been on the streets that much.
Yeah.
So did Daniel actually give her some city tickets for that driving incident that she mentioned?
Well, no. She said that he gave her 3 tickets that night, and he did not give her any tickets that
So
night.
maybe some other cop did.
It was, and I'm trying to think of what his name was. It's well, I think that Bates is going to say it here.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, he might be saying it in this part.
Well, along those lines of Brian Bates, because I haven't listened to all of it. Well, I have listened to it, probably pretty much all of it at one time, but I can't remember. In his talking about, this potential black cop, does he ever go into any kind of detail about that, about a potential, Oklahoma City police officer, who that may be at all?
He might have said it in Sherry Ellis's, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
Cherie would. Did he say Anthony Edwards in?
I can't remember either, if he did or not.
I think he might have.
He might have said Anthony Edwards, but I'm not 100% certain.
Bates, you mean?
Yeah, Brian Bates. Yeah, during his, because he was, he clearly did some pretty deep investigating in this, and clearly the problem is that for the defense not being able to get access to other records about other police officers without something pretty specific. I'm just saying that during his investigation and talking with Scott,
so the Alexander Edwards deal, that came about after Daniel was already convicted and sentenced, and he was in prison, and Bates was all over that at that time, and it happened after Daniel was sentenced, but before Bates put the podcast out.
I see.
That's why it is in the podcast. But he was following that case because it really piqued his interest.
I'm sure. Well, I mean, probably looking backwards,
Yeah, I mean, then he looks at the what do you call the sheets that have the scheduling on them, and sees that Alexander Edwards was working in the same area, just in the very next. I don't know what the right terminology is, if it would be called a sector.
Zone or sector, I don't know what they call it. I just think zone, but I think it was the zone north, just like literally where, from what I gathered, this is not a fact. I don't know that it's written anywhere in a document, but from what I gathered, it was where Daniel's zone was cut off is where Anthony Edwards began north. Right. Is what I remember.
It seems like it was less than a mile away.
Right. And we have to, if for those who aren't familiar with who Anthony Edwards is, he was a cop and he worked out of Spring Lake. I believe on the same, I feel like it was the same shift possibly as Daniel, but I'm not 100% certain on that either.
That's correct.
Look at one of their, okay. So, but he was caught in and this was right up John TV alley in this respect. He was caught having sex with a prostitute and tipping her off to a prostitution sting that the state or the government, actually, I think it was the government, had going.
I think it was actually a human trafficking investigation that it had been ongoing for a long time. So it really, I mean, he really did some damage to something that they had been working on for quite a while.
Okay. Yeah. Cherie, is that from Sherry Ellis's accusation?
Yeah, I copied it from episode 9. I just searched for his name, and that's where it was.
All right, I'm going to read this out. Oh, it says it at the bottom. I didn't see that far. I'm going to read this out, or at least part of this out to you guys really quick. This is from episode 9, Sherry Ellis's, in the podcast. He says, there's another consideration that the patrol car GPS is not to be trusted at all in any scenario and shouldn't be used as such damning evidence in any criminal trial. I've posted the GPS data that corresponds with this episode on holtzclawtrial.com. He says he's highlighted each time the data doesn't match the GPS parameters. I'll be pointing that out in prosecution's own admission at trial that OKCPD ADL system is glitchy and unreliable. We talked about that last week because I was freaking out. All of that said, there's yet at least one more possibility that many Holtzclaw supporters point to, and it has to do with Ellis's description of her attacker as being a short black male police officer. Guess what? There was a Spring Lake lieutenant, who was a lieutenant, working patrol that night that could best be described as both short and black. Furthermore, his patrol area was 1,500 feet from where Ellis claims she was raped. His name is Alexander Edwards. You may be saying to yourself, so what? Other than being short and black, there must obviously be nothing that ties this high-ranking officer to Ellis's allegations. Well, there wasn't at this point in the investigation, September 5th, 2014. But in October of 2016, well after Holtzclaw was convicted, something does happen that puts Edwards back on many Holtzclaw supporters' radar. This is why I'm so latched on to Edwards, and it's not a fact, but just kind of like what he's saying here, speculation on my radar. He was busted in a federal anti-human trafficking sting, not just for engaging in prostitution as a customer, but also for warning prostitutes about law enforcement activities. So that's the gist of that in episode 9. If you want to go back and listen to that. So yeah, so there's some, so I guess that's probably where my memories are coming from, is from that episode, apparently. So a little bit better.
So
okay.
Before we move on, I just want to hammer down on something that you brought up when you paused in the middle of this episode. And that was, so Kala Lyles had monthly probation meetings. She goes to her June meeting after she supposedly has been raped. She doesn't mention it. She skips her July meeting and then goes in August to, was it August she reported?
She reported in August and then in September. Again, she missed July, but she went in August and September.
She reported in September. So she's had 2 occasions after she was supposedly raped to report. I thought it was just.
Well, I speculated that her appointment in June was the day after she was allegedly raped. That's just my, because I don't know exactly what her parole date was that in the month of June. But if we're following what it was in August, it would have been around the 19th. But again, you're welcome, Hazzy. It's all I can do. It's all we can do. There's nothing else we can really do. Drive safely, Neverly. So yeah, she reports in June. She missed July. She went in August, and then she went in September. She went in September. When she went in August, he hadn't been arrested yet. So she didn't report anything in August because he hadn't been arrested yet. You know what I mean?
When did they contact her parents? Because that's another way that she knew about it, is because detectives went to her parents' house, which she said she lives with her parents, but her parents said
they hadn't seen her in weeks.
They hadn't seen her, and she comes around every once in a while to rest. So she doesn't live with her parents.
I'm looking through her police report.
Well, you can go ahead and play that, and we can break back in.
I'll find it. Yeah, because this one
cover it anyway.
Well, yeah, he breaks this down really well. So pay attention to what Bates is going to say, because he's going to point out all of the inconsistencies, and there are a lot of inconsistencies in this. So here we go.
The last episode, I caught you up to date and introduced you to Holtzclaw accuser Kala Lyles. Lyles, a 29-year-old black female who resides in northeast Oklahoma City, accused Oklahoma City patrol officer Daniel Holtzclaw of detaining her and then taking her to what is often described as a, quote, abandoned schoolyard. There, he forced her to perform oral sex upon him and then vaginally raped her. Lyles' allegations are very similar to accuser Sherry Ellis. And, as with Ellis's accusations, Lyles' account has some serious red flags. In this episode, I will delve deep into the details of her assertions, where those assertions are supported, and where the facts put those details in doubt. I will also point out glaring flaws within the investigation. So let's begin. The following is a recap of Kala Lyles' allegations as told to Oklahoma City Police sex crimes detectives Kim Davis and Valerie Homan on September 16 of 2014. Lyles claims that she doesn't know the month of the alleged rape, but that she recalled it was at night and that it was warm outside, so she estimates it was summertime. At the time of the incident, she was staying weekly at the Relax Inn on Northeast 23rd with their longtime boyfriend, a man identified as 41-year-old James Anthony Anderson. According to Lyles, earlier that evening she had gotten into a verbal altercation with Anderson and had left the motel on foot and went for a walk, just to clear her head, though the two did remain in contact via her cell phone. It was while walking eastbound on Northeast 16th Street and talking on her phone that she said that she was approached by Officer Holtzclaw, who was out on patrol in his newer model all-black police car. Lyles said that Anderson told her to hang up the phone, so she did. Holtzclaw stopped, exited, and asked her what she was up to. Lyles says she told him about the argument with Anderson and that she was walking to a friend's house. Holtzclaw placed her in the back of his patrol car and ran her name for any outstanding warrants. She didn't recall how he ran her for warrants and doesn't recall hearing anyone on the radio, but she did remember that Holtzclaw told her that she was clear. The officer made some mention to Lyles that it was late. She shouldn't be out walking in such a high-crime area and asked to give her a ride back to the Relax Inn. Lyles initially declined the offer, but stated that the officer insisted. Not wanting to get into any trouble and already being in the back of the patrol car, she relented. But she had one request, that he not take her all the way to the motel and that he let her out before they got there. somewhere along North Highland Drive. She specifically did not want people in the neighborhood seeing her get dropped off by a marked patrol car, for fear she would be labeled a snitch. Lyles said Officer Holtzclaw drove east on Northeast 16th to Highland, then north on Highland to Northeast 18th Street. He then turned right, or east, on 18th and proceeded towards the infamous abandoned schoolyard. As I pointed out previously, the property is the former location of the now vacated John Wesley Charter School, which was originally the home of Creston Hills Elementary. The property, which contains the boarded-up school buildings, also is home to a neighborhood public park and playground. Lyles said that Holtzclaw parked his patrol car near or between two of the outbuildings. He then exited and opened her door. Lyles turned and placed her feet outside of the car and onto the ground. Lyles noticed that the officer kept grabbing at his penis over the top of his uniform pants. She said the officer told her that he needed to make sure she didn't have any drugs or paraphernalia on her. She said she was instructed to expose her breasts by lifting her shirt. She said the officer then exclaimed, quote, "I bet that pussy is wet," end quote. Lyles said that she was too shocked by the comment to respond, and that the officer then immediately pulled his pants halfway down, exposing his penis, and then forced her to put it in her mouth while she remained seated in the back of his patrol car. The officer then told Lyles he needed to make certain she didn't have drugs hidden inside her underwear or vagina. She was instructed to lower her pants, turn around, and bend over, facing inside the patrol car. Lyles claims that at that point, the officer then inserted his penis into her vagina. She said he wasn't wearing a condom and that the vaginal rape lasted 5 to 10 minutes. When asked, she said she didn't think the officer ejaculated because nothing leaked out of her. She did state, however, that something kept hitting her on her buttocks. She thought it was his gun or radio. She said she asked him to move it, but doesn't recall his response. Lyles said the only comments he made during the rape were moaning sounds and something to the effect of, "Oh yeah, oh yeah." Lyles wasn't certain what caused the rape to stop. She stated she thought the officer got a dispatch or that maybe a car had driven by on Miramar and spooked him. Regardless, when it was over, the officer allegedly told her, quote, "I want to see you tomorrow night around the same time," end quote. And with that, the officer simply got back in his patrol car and drove away, leaving Lyles to walk the rest of the way home. Lyles told Detective Davis that she hasn't seen the officer since the rape, but that she had encountered the same officer previously. She said he pulled her and her boyfriend James Anderson over about a year ago and wrote her tickets for no driver's license and then let her go. Lyles confirmed that she had seen Officer Daniel Holtzclaw's face on the news after he was arrested, and that she came forward because she knew there was a, quote, time limit, and she didn't want to see him let go. Detective Davis then obtained a buccal swab DNA sample from Lyles and left. When Davis returned to her office, she called Lyles's boyfriend, James Anderson. Anderson told Davis that he has dated Lyles for 6 or 7 years and that they have lived together for the past 5 years. When asked, Anderson said he recalled an event that had happened in the past. He didn't recall the date, but thought it was warm outside and that it was after 1 a.m. He said that he and Lyles got into an argument about some cleaning he hadn't done and that Lyles left for a walk to cool down, but that they were talking on their cell phone as she walked. At some point, Lyles told him a patrol car was pulling up and stopping her. In contrast to what Lyles told Detective Davis, Anderson said he tried to convince her to leave the line open during the stop, but that they were disconnected. He said he tried calling back repeatedly for over an hour, but that she never answered. Anderson said when he next heard from her, she called him and she was crying. Lyles said she had been, quote, harassed by a police officer. Anderson claims he told Lyles he would come to her and walk with her back home. She said she didn't want him to do that because she was fearful what the officer might do if he saw them together. Anderson said that Lyles arrived back at the Relax Inn 10 to 15 minutes later and claimed that the police officer had, quote, taken her between portable buildings of a school, pulled up her skirt, and rubbed his penis between the crack of her pussy and butt, end quote. Anderson said he told her to call downtown and talk to someone about it, but that.
So I just wanted to, one of the discrepancies, and I don't remember if Bates points this out, I'm sure he does, but when she's giving the interview to Kim Davis, she's saying that she was wearing pants, panties, a shirt, and a bra. But here, she's saying that she told what's his name, Anderson, that she pulled up her skirt. So I just wanted to point that out.
Lyles refused, saying that she feared the police would come back and kill her. He said that they never talked about it again until Lyles told him detectives had contacted her mother. Anderson provided Detective Davis with his and Lyles' phone numbers at the time so Davis could subpoena the records. That same day, Kala Lyles' probation and parole officer, Jack Bowling, prepared a written account of his perspective of Kala Lyles' allegations and how they came about. I've posted a copy of that document on this episode's homepage at holtzclawtrial.com. After speaking to Bowling, Lyles, and Anderson, Detective Davis went to work trying to corroborate the allegations. As I mentioned at the end of the last episode, Detective Davis was able to find 3 instances from April to June of 2014 where it appears Officer Holtzclaw did have direct contact with Kala Lyles. According to police records, Officer Holtzclaw ran Lyles through police databases on April 9th, May 6th, and June 18th. Davis next pulled Kala Lyles' city ticket history. Remember, Lyles was certain that Officer Holtzclaw had pulled her over about a year ago and written her and her boyfriend tickets before letting them go. Lyles' ticket history showed only one instance where she was pulled over during that time period and issued any city citations related to no driver's license. It was March of 2013. The tickets were for no insurance, no current vehicle tag, and no driver's license. But there's a problem. Lyles wasn't stopped by Officer Holtzclaw. She was stopped and ticketed by a Spring Lake patrol officer identified as a Mr. Alan Cruz. Detective Davis next pulled Holtzclaw's AVL, or automatic vehicle locator, for each of those dates. And she's in luck. Holtzclaw's patrol car AVL and computer history shows that on June 18th, 2014, he stopped Lyles near Northeast 16th Street and Lottie at around 1:26 a.m., and that a few minutes later, he proceeded down Northeast 18th Street. There, at around 1:36 a.m., he jumps the curb and drives into the infamous abandoned school property. A few minutes later, he emerges on Miramar and drives north. To Detective Davis, this is all the corroborating evidence she needs. As with all the accusers, there is a lot to unpack here, so I'll start with what gives Kala Lyles' allegations a measure of credibility. And as I've repeatedly stated, I'm going to be completely transparent and not hide anything that casts doubt on Holtzclaw's innocence. For starters, Kala Lyles has been described as one of the few accusers who came forward on her own to make the allegations against Officer Holtzclaw. You'll recall she confided in her probation officer about the rape, and that it was the probation officer who got into direct contact with Detective Davis. Now, I'm going to take issue with that stance in just a bit, but for now, it is at least, on the surface, an assertion in her favor. More importantly, however, is the fact that Lyles' allegations are extremely similar to those of another accuser, Sherry Ellis. You'll recall I covered Ellis's allegations in episodes 8 and 9. In her case, she too says she encountered Officer Holtzclaw while walking, that he forced her to perform oral sex upon him and then also raped her while on the same vacant school and public park property. And even though Lyles admits she watched and read details about Holtzclaw's arrest prior to coming forward, I've independently confirmed that none of Ellis's allegations or the location of her assault had been made public at that time. meaning either she's telling the truth, knows Ellis and they compared notes prior to her allegations, or that by sheer coincidence, Lyles is making allegations that almost mirror Ellis's. Keep in mind, however, that even though Ellis's name and allegations were not yet public, the fact that Officer Holtzclaw was accused of making women expose themselves and allegedly orally and vaginally raping them was public knowledge. Another point in Lyles's favor. Daniel Holtzclaw's patrol car AVL, or GPS, seems to back up her allegations. At least as far as where she first encountered Holtzclaw and the assertion she was taken to a vacant school and public park property and that his patrol car remained parked in that area for several minutes. A fact that Holtzclaw neglected to radio in or even note in his daily activity log. But this is far from an open and shut case. And, like so many of the other accusers, Lyles's version of events and how they were investigated have some very serious issues. First, let's look at exactly how her allegations came to light. While it's true that she confided in her probation officer, Jack Bowling, and that he in turn directly contacted Detective Davis, what often gets missed is the fact that Lyles only made the allegations after first missing her scheduled and mandatory August 2014 probation meeting, and only after Detective Davis visited her parents' home and told them she was looking for their daughter, and after Holtzclaw's name, face, and details of his arrest have been made very public. Kala Lyles, a convicted felon, was on probation at the time for possession of cocaine with intent to distribute and possession of marijuana. Her probation required her to meet in person with her probation officer every month and to attend specific classes. Only after 3 months and Lyles showing up for her September 16, 2014 probation meeting and faced with being revoked for missing the prior meeting and not attending her classes, did she suddenly reveal the alleged rape perpetrated by Officer Holtzclaw. Probation Officer Bowling said he asked Lyles what she had been up to over the last month when she didn't show up for her meeting. Lyles reportedly replied that, quote, she had been going through a lot, and that her boyfriend had suffered 2 heart attacks, and that she was raped by the Oklahoma City police officer that has been all over the news. Here's the problem as I see it. It will later be alleged that Officer Daniel Holtzclaw raped Kala Lyles during the early morning hours of June 18, 2014. Yes, the same day he allegedly also orally sodomized accuser Janie Liggins. I'll get more into that in a bit. According to the investigative timeline, Lyles is raped on June 18th and then shows up for her July probation appointment with Officer Bowling. She makes no mention of being raped by Officer Holtzclaw at that meeting. However, we are supposed to believe she suddenly became so traumatized the following month that she did miss her August meeting and her required classes. An absence that very well could have resulted in her probation being revoked and sending her to prison for up to 6 years. Additionally, not only is Lyles aware that an Oklahoma City police officer she has been in contact with on several occasions.
Did he say that the police report says, maybe I just misheard him. The police report says Kala said her last appointment with the probation officer was August 19th, 2014. She thinks she missed her July 2014 appointment. Did he just say she showed up to her July appointment, missed her August appointment, and then reported?
That's what I heard.
Yes.
But she did say.
I mean, not that police reports are accurate because we know how these police reports go, but we should check and see if we can figure out which is correct, Bates. Because I mean, we misspeak sometimes when we're doing things.
Well,
make sure
sorry.
Go ahead.
The police officer or the police report says she thinks. So maybe Bates found out for sure, or maybe he's wrong. We need to find out who's right.
I don't remember in all the discovery that I've seen, I don't remember seeing any schedule of her probation appointments. It does look like the dates that we have access to that she reported the third Tuesday of every month. And if that's true, then she would have already been to her June appointment before the alleged assault. So it would just be July, August, and September to contend with.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll work on that and see if we can get all the exact stuff for next week so we can share it.
Yeah.
So we can clear it up.
Do you guys recall seeing anything about her probation?
A schedule? No.
Okay.
I don't know about Cherie.
No, I don't either.
Okay. All right. We'll carry on.
All right. Hey, Liam. Glad you were able to make it.
Probation being revoked and sending her to prison for up to 6 years. Additionally, not only is Lyles aware that an Oklahoma City police officer she has been in contact with on several occasions is now accused of multiple rapes, but she is also aware that in July, Detective Kim Davis went to her parents' home and was looking for her to question her about her possibly being the victim of a sexual assault by an Oklahoma City police officer. Regardless, we do know that Officer Holtzclaw encountered Kala Lyles in the early morning hours of June 18th, 2014. And we know it because he called the stop in. Here is the actual radio transmission from that initial stop.
Wednesday, June 18, 2014, 2014, 01:26 and 22 seconds. 01:26 and 40 seconds.
Clear unit standing by 800.
Wednesday, June 18, 2014, 01:27 and 0 seconds.
OSDO, last name is Lyles, Lincoln Young, Lincoln Edward Sam, first name is Kayla, King Adam, Lincoln Adam, date of birth is 84, black female.
Wednesday, June 18, 2014,
Charlie 45,
01:29 and 0 seconds.
According to Holtzclaw's AVL, he put his patrol car in park near Northeast 16th and Lottie at approximately 1:23 a.m. During that time, we know he confronted Lyles, had some sort of conversation with her, and ran her for warrants. She came back clean. Officer Holtzclaw's patrol car began moving again at around 1:30 a.m., or about 7 minutes later. According to his AVL, he drove east on Northeast 16th to Highland, then north on Highland 2 blocks to Northeast 18th Street. There, he turned right and drove to where 18th ends at the schoolyard and park. AVL shows his patrol car left the grid or jumped the curb at about 1:37 a.m. A few seconds later, the patrol car is once again parked, this time until approximately 1:47 a.m., or about 10 minutes. Holtzclaw's patrol car then continues eastbound across the school and park property until he comes to Miramar and then leaves the area headed north. Some people would argue that roughly 10 minutes is plenty of time to orally sodomize and vaginally rape someone. Others would say they are not so convinced. So what do I think the evidence supports actually happened? It's without question that Oklahoma City police officer Daniel Holtzclaw was out patrolling the Spring Lake district when he saw Lyles walking near Northeast 16th and Lottie at about 1:25 a.m. Being that it was late at night in a high crime area with lots of drug dealing, gang activity, and street level prostitution, he stops and inquires with Lyles as to what she's up to. She says she's arguing with her boyfriend and just taking a walk, but she also claims she first mentioned that she's coming from a friend's house, but also going to a friend's house, but is now apparently headed back to her boyfriend's place at the Relax Inn. Lyles doesn't have any warrants, but Holtzclaw knows she has a prior conviction for drug dealing. She's giving conflicting stories about what she's up to, and she's over 1.5 miles from her motel. Holtzclaw is most likely suspicious that she is actually out dealing drugs or is out prostituting or trying to score drugs. So he offers her a ride back to her motel to see if he can get a better handle on what she's actually up to, and also see if she is willing to share any information about the local criminal element. The strategy of transporting individuals to get information from them is obviously nothing new or unique to Holtzclaw. Lyles herself says that if she's seen in the patrol car, the locals will assume that she is a snitch. Holtzclaw agrees to take her part of the way to the motel and then let her out. The school or park property is often patrolled by police looking for gang members, loiterers, or vandals. So his patrol car pulling into the area, even leaving the roadway and stopping, would not seem out of the ordinary. Plus, it is out of the way just enough to let Lyles out without anyone seeing her. When they arrive, Holtzclaw has been unable to get any valuable intel from her. So he lets her out of the vehicle and, as she claimed, she walks away before the officer drives on. We know from AVL data that Holtzclaw's patrol car was only parked for about 10 minutes. If you conservatively take out, say, 2 minutes to park, exit the vehicle, and chit-chat, and 1 to 2 minutes for her to walk away, that leaves you with 6 to 7 minutes to perpetuate 2 sexual assaults Lyles alleges happened. Is it physically possible? Probably. Is it probable? I have serious doubts. And those doubts are only amplified when you take a closer look at the details of Kala Lyles' allegations and how those allegations have changed over time. Lyles claims that when she first encountered Officer Holtzclaw, that her boyfriend James told her to hang up, but James claims he told her to keep the line open. Lyles later claims that Holtzclaw told her to hang up and that he even took her phone from her. Yet, she never mentions him giving the phone back. I personally feel she either hung up when she saw the officer, or he may have indeed simply told her to put the phone up. Regardless, it's a minor discrepancy. Next, there is the issue of what Lyles was wearing on the night of her alleged rape. In her first version of events, she couldn't remember exactly what she had on, but described it as panties, pants, a shirt, and bra. Later at preliminary hearing, and then again at trial, Lyles would claim she was wearing a one-piece dress. That is completely different and troublesome when compared to the original version of events. In her first version of events, she raised her shirt. She also claimed she was made to lower her pants and panties to show she wasn't hiding any contraband. At preliminary hearing and trial, it's now a one-piece dress, which would mean she'd have to raise the entire dress up to expose her breasts, and that there were no pants to lower to expose her panties or vagina. She also described being compelled to perform the clasp and shake. She literally says she was made to lift up her shirt and bra and, quote, shake, from page 91 of the preliminary hearing transcript. She also originally stated that the exposing of her breasts and vagina occurred while she sat in the back seat of the patrol car. This would later change to while she was standing during the preliminary hearing. Detective Davis also noted in her initial report that Officer Holtzclaw, quote, touched her breasts while he was searching her. At preliminary hearing, however, when questioned, Lyles now claims that Officer Holtzclaw did not actually touch her while searching her. This claim results in criminal count number 19 being changed from sexual battery to procuring lewd exhibition. Regardless of sitting or standing, shirts or pants or dress, touching or not touching, Lyles is certain she was being illuminated by the dome light in Holtzclaw's patrol car. However, Holtzclaw assured me during our conversations that that was not possible. He said that while serving a stint with the Oklahoma City gang unit, he was encouraged to disable his patrol car dome light for safety reasons. Officer Holtzclaw says the gang officers instilled in him that having that dome light on while on night patrol made you an unnecessary target. It also exposed any passenger sitting in the car, made it harder to see out of the patrol car, and also caused your eyes to have to adjust and readjust when getting in or out of the car. Holtzclaw's patrol car dome light was never tested by the prosecution when they searched his vehicle on multiple occasions. Another significant change in her story. During her initial interview, she is clear that she was seated in the back of the patrol car with her feet outside and on the ground when she was made to perform oral sex on Officer Holtzclaw. At prelim, she's still seated in the car, but now her feet are also in the car. At trial, she has changed this to standing outside the car to expose herself and then squatting to perform oral sex. Lyles also appears to start to claim that the officer didn't run her for warrants until they got to the school property. But prosecutor Galen Giger, seeing this glaring inconsistency, cuts her off in mid-sentence, as evident on page 91 of the preliminary hearing transcript. Then, there's the most glaring inconsistency that I think implicates Detective Davis and/or prosecutor Galen Giger for impropriety. Lyles is very clear in her initial statement that Officer Holtzclaw, while facing her, and she is seated in the patrol car, unfastened his pants and, quote, pulled his pants halfway down and exposed his erect penis. Here it is again in her own words.
Let's talk about the head first. Did he pull his pants down for the head?
He put them just halfway.
There's a problem. That doesn't match any previous statement by any other accuser. Up to this point, it's been consistent. Holtzclaw's penis just magically appears through his zipper hole. But, unexplainably and conveniently enough, by the time we get to trial, this error has been corrected. Lyles now claims Holtzclaw never lowered his pants halfway down his legs, and instead, you guessed it, simply left his pants fastened and exposed his penis through his zipper. In fact, there's this quote from page 3625 of the jury trial transcript. Kala Lyles says the following quote, "He just pulled it out and he just started raping me, I guess," end quote. Am I saying I think Detective Davis and/or prosecutor Galen Giger told Lyles to change her story? I think it's 100% possible and even probable. And the opportunity for such an interaction was captured in the jury trial transcript on page 3664. Question to Kala Lyles by prosecutor Galen Giger, quote, "In fact, whenever Detective Davis and I talked to you before today, where were you?" Answer, in jail. Folks, I'm here to tell you, there is not a single report or recording of any meeting that prosecutor Galen Giger or Detective Kim Davis had with accuser Kala Lyles while she was incarcerated in jail and most vulnerable and most susceptible to suggestion by the prosecution. This is just another of dozens of examples of times we know the prosecution has met with accusers in private and not bothered to document or record those interactions. Yet, miraculously, after such interactions, details are buttoned up and accusers fall in line. But I digress. Back to the alleged oral sodomy. At preliminary hearing, Lyles simply can't recall if Officer Holtzclaw ejaculated in her mouth. In fact, Now, at trial, she can't quite get the order of events to match her original statement. Originally, Lyles stated that she was seated in the patrol car, forced to perform oral sex, then removed from the patrol car, bent over, and vaginally raped. That series of events changes too. Now, she gets out of the car, is bent over and vaginally raped, and then turns around and squats to perform oral sex. When confronted about the inconsistency, she replies that it was, quote, back and forth. That Holtzclaw apparently went back and forth between vaginal and oral sex multiple times. Yet, her story, at any time that she's told it, only claims there was one instance of oral sex and one instance of vaginal sex. The quote, back and forth, is simply her oh shit moment when she knows she's screwed up. What she does go back and forth on at the preliminary hearing is what she is wearing. In one sentence, she's pulling down pants. In another, she's wearing a dress. At trial, she simply gives up and says she doesn't recall at all what she was wearing. While I admit a person might not recall what type or color of pants they were wearing, or even if maybe they were shorts or long pants, but there is a huge difference between something with legs in them and a dress when you're talking about exposing your breasts, your vagina, and being forced to engage in vaginal sex. During her initial interview and at preliminary hearing, she maintains the vaginal rape lasted for up to 10 minutes, which could fall within the timeline supported by the AVL. At trial, however, she's upped the estimate to 20 to 30 minutes, which is in no way supported by the AVL. In every retelling of her allegations, Lyles claims that Officer Holtzclaw made the comment, quote, I bet that pussy is wet, end quote. Nowhere else, and not from any other accuser, do we hear this inappropriate statement. In fact, when you go back to Officer Holtzclaw's video-recorded interrogation, it is clear he is very uncomfortable with such language. People are creatures of habit, and that includes our vernacular. Yet, any time an accuser claims a shocking and inappropriate quote is made by Officer Holtzclaw, that same quote never resurfaces from any other accuser. I find that very telling. During her initial interview, Lyles is unclear as to who left the area first when the alleged rape ended. However, at preliminary hearing, she states that she didn't see for certain where Holtzclaw went because he remained parked as she walked away. But Lyles takes it a step further at trial. She claims that as she walked home and was in the area of Southeast 22nd and Fairmont, that Holtzclaw drove down the street that she was on, as if he was following her. She said she ducked down by a vacant building, but could see it was Holtzclaw driving. This assertion was not made during her initial interview and is not supported by Holtzclaw's patrol car AVL, and the prosecution knows it, and even tried to get her to backtrack, but she doesn't. In fact, she ups the ante even more. Remember how she claimed that Officer Holtzclaw told her, quote, he wanted to see her again the next night? Well, at trial, on page 3633 of the transcript, she testifies that, quote, a couple of days after that, it seemed like he was circling the parking lot, end quote. She even added, quote, because he knew where I was at. The problem, as we all know, Holtzclaw was placed on administrative leave on June 18, 2014, and couldn't have been circling the parking lot, stalking Lyles days later. When you take everything into consideration, there are problems on both sides. There is no direct forensic evidence to support Kala Lyles' claims. There are no independent witnesses to any criminal activity. Her version of events, what order they occurred in, even down to what she was wearing, seems to change on a whim. Holtzclaw's pants were unbuckled and pulled down, conveniently becomes simply unzipped after meeting with detectives and the prosecution. And the accuser claims she was stalked after we know Holtzclaw was no longer on duty. But we also don't have an answer as to why Holtzclaw transported a female without calling it in or indicating a transport on his daily activity log. And how is it that we have a second female claiming that she was taken to the same school and park property and sexually assaulted, both orally and vaginally? When it comes to credibility, for me personally, I go back to how these allegations surfaced. Kala Lyles claims that she was raped on June 18th of 2014. Yet she makes no mention of the rape in her July probation meeting. She then misses her August meeting and fails to attend her required classes. Also, during this time, she is made aware that an officer she has come into contact with on at least 3 occasions is being accused of rape. She also knows a sex crimes detective is trying to find her regarding a possible sexual assault. She needs a way to avoid having her probation revoked and being sent to prison. But calling the sex crimes detective back isn't going to accomplish that, even though she claims that she didn't know who to report the crime to, but felt she needed to report it now, 3 months later, because she knew that there was a time limit and didn't want to see the officer let go. Hear it again in her own words.
What made you finally come to call today?
I knew it was like almost like a deadline, and I've been watching the news, and I guess it's like if nobody else will come forward with them, they'll probably let them go, and I didn't want that to happen.
You probably recall this is exactly the reason admitted false accuser Shanice Barksdale from episode 18 forwarded when she lied about being sexually assaulted by Holtzclaw. Regardless, Lyles needs to make the rape allegation to her probation officer and use it as her excuse as to why she isn't compliant. And it works. There is no attempt to revoke her probation or send her to prison after she makes her rape allegation. In fact, in the near future, she will commit another felony crime and be given yet another suspended sentence and even more probation after agreeing to cooperate in Holtzclaw's prosecution. And lastly, for Kala Lyles' allegations to be true, we have to believe she was sodomized and vaginally raped by Officer Holtzclaw, and then that he encountered accuser Janie Liggins less than 15 minutes later and orally sodomized her too. But it doesn't end there. A third accuser will come forward and say she too was vaginally raped during this same patrol shift. The real question becomes, how will the jury weigh all of the evidence and the inconsistencies? That question will be answered in a future episode. In the next episode, more questionable behavior by Officer Daniel Holtzclaw, when an accuser comes forward and says that not only was she raped by the officer, but that it happened while she was handcuffed to a hospital bed, and that Holtzclaw then contacted her on Facebook and even came to her home in his private vehicle. But those details are for the next time we meet.
Okay. It's pretty heavy testimony or commentary, I guess. Yeah, I've said before many times that Kala Lyles is the most disgusting of the accusers with her accusations, and but it's so hard to follow her because as well as you heard Bates, say, everything in her story changes from interview to interview to interview, or testimony to interview to testimony. And I guess what I haven't said is that Daniel was found not guilty on all of the charges for Kala Lyles, and it's no wonder. I mean, she lied all the way through the interview. She lied in her preliminary, and she lied in her trial testimony, and that's just fact. There's no disputing that, and we'll show you that when we read the preliminary and the trial testimony as well.
Was the up and down, like, was that during the trial? Don't you remember? I guess we'll find out.
Up and down.
You know, like doing
back and forth.
Yeah, doing one, then the other, then that. You know.
She said that at trial. Yeah, I believe she said that at trial. It's hard to remember. It's hard.
It was at
straight.
It was at trial because she only did that because she got busted on changing her story from police report to prelim to however she testified originally in trial.
Okay.
Yeah.
Adams calls her on it, and then she says, well, yeah, it was back and forth.
Yeah. Like Bates said, that was her oh shit moment.
Mm-hmm.
And her clothing as well. I mean, a long time ago, I would say over a year ago, Cherie and Kay and I did an episode that we named The Pants. And I will, I'll put that in the description, and so that you guys can listen. It was probably my first really long show that we did. But we went through a lot of detail and there was a lot of detail. That's all I'm going to say. It's a really interesting podcast. And so, I mean, you know, like I said, I'll put it in the description. And I just recommend that you take a listen to that, because well, I shouldn't say we, really it was Kay and Cherie broke it down really, really well. And all I did was show the stuff, but they were the ones that went to all the work of putting all the stuff in it, and some more than others put a lot of work into it. And so now here's something that I want to say that I've pointed out a few times. And also, if you listen, if you go back and listen to Dr. Silkman's DNA presentation, I even asked him about it, because we have to remember that, yes, I know. You have to remember that this is all June 18th. So this is the same 24-hour period. Well, it's not even 24 hours. It's like less than 12-hour period of time when Daniel had contact with Adara Gardner on the 17th, twice. And then he had contact with Kala Lyles. And then, you know, the other thing about like Bates pointed out, there wasn't even time for the encounter or the contact with Kala Lyles. The amount of time that she said wasn't even possible, because he was headed back to Spring Lake because his shift was over at 2 a.m. And I believe in the interrogation video, he even says that the supervisor on shift let them go about 5 minutes early that night. So we're talking at 1:55 a.m. No way does Kala Lyles' timeline fit with that, because by 2 a.m. he's pulled over Jamie Liggins. Now here's my thing about Liggins and DNA. If you remember, it's been a while since we've gone over this, but we read through all of Adara Gardner's testimony, and Daniel allegedly vaginally raped her. So his penis was allegedly in her vagina. Then he goes to Kala Lyles, 6 hours later, 4 to 6 hours later, and allegedly has his penis in her mouth and in her vagina. Then, I know, isn't that awesome? Thanks. Appreciate that, Liam. Then he goes and allegedly has his penis in Janie Ligon's mouth. And I asked Dr. Silkman when he did his presentation for us about the DNA in the case, is it likely, I'm going to paraphrase myself here, but if he allegedly had his penis in somebody's vagina at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever it was, 9:30 or 10 o'clock, and then a few hours later had his penis in somebody else's vagina, whatever time Kayla says, and then less than 15 minutes later, excuse me, I had to sneeze. Less than 15 minutes later, he had his penis in somebody else's mouth. Would there be transfer DNA? Would there have been DNA from Adara Gardner and DNA from Kala Lyles in Janie Ligon's DNA sample? Not only was there no DNA from Daniel at all in Janie Ligon's SANE exam, but there was no DNA from two unknown females. So I don't know if I'm making sense, but it just makes sense to me that there would be DNA in Janie Ligon's mouth from two other women, as well as Daniel, if any of those three assaults had occurred. And I'll let somebody else talk.
Well, you would also think that they would have found a profile of Lyles on the pants as well, not just in Janie Ligon's, but you know, maybe I was typing when you said that and I wasn't listening, but
no, I didn't say it, but yeah, I was trying to keep all of my profiles.
Hey, regarding the whole tattoo thing, what did Kala Lyles say in her interview?
Oh yeah, I was going to show those too.
She saw the tattoos because in Davis's police report, Davis adds, she said she saw the tattoos coming out from under his short sleeves. She didn't say that, did she?
Yeah, she did.
She said, I saw the tattoos coming out from under his short sleeves.
Yes.
I think Kim asked her that, if she could see him under his sleeves.
Yeah.
She said,
I don't think she's okay, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, if you know what she said, I don't. I'm asking. So if you know what she said, then I'm incorrect. I thought that Kim fed her that.
No, she said, Kayla said Eddie had tattoos. And then Holman said, how do you know he had tattoos? Did he take his shirt off and show you? And she said, no. And then Kim, I think it was Kim, then said, well, how did you, or one of the two detectives said, well, how did you see him? And then at the same, Kayla was saying, I could see him under his, coming from his short sleeves. And one of the detectives was saying this, oh, could you just see it coming from under the sleeve? They said it at the same time. But yeah, it was Kala Lyles that said she saw the tattoos, because I went and looked at pictures of Daniel, and I don't think I have this one prepared to show you guys, but
they're high on his arm. The tattoos are high on his arm.
Yeah, you don't see the tattoos under his uniform, coming out from his uniform, or under, because I looked at the the picture also where he's wearing the white T-shirt when he leaves court, when he finally gets bailed out, and you can't see the tattoos from that either.
And it's not like his sleeves can hike up, because his uniform shirt, you can see if you go look at the interview video of his 2-hour interview, you can see how tight the arms of his uniform shirt are because his arms are so huge.
Right.
So it's not like, oh yeah, it just slipped up and the tattoos, it would have had to slip way up.
Yeah. Let me, I have this picture. Let me show this one to you. It's not a good picture. I mean, the lighting is super bad, but let me show it to you anyway. And then because I have some other ones I want to show as well. Let's see, how do I share this? Okay. So it's kind of hard to see. Well, really, it's not. You just can't see his tattoos coming. His tattoos are higher up on his shirt. On his arm. And like Kay said, the sleeve of his shirt is too snug. It's not going up. It's not moving up. So.
It looks like it could move up an inch or two, but imagine it going higher than an inch or two and the tattoo's still on the it's on the top aspect of his arm.
One of them is a scripture, if I'm not mistaken, and the other one is like a tribal. Is the other one a tribal band?
No, it's the Japanese characters for work hard.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to share some other photos with you guys. So you guys know me. I am all about the AVL crap. There's nothing about the AVL that I can buy. There's just nothing about it, I believe. Did I not? I hope I did. Okay, there it is. Let me close this one really quick. Okay. It's moving. Okay. Okay. So, you know me, I'm all about the AVL stuff, and I am convinced. Now, I know that Bates says, that it's that Daniel doesn't call in when he transports Kayla from, look at bigger on the screen, from the, it's bigger, even bigger. Maybe a little bit too big. When he transports her. So this is where where she was stopped. There's no alleged about it. He stopped her right here at 16th and Lottie. This red line here is 16th, and then this yellow here is Lottie. Excuse me, Lottie Avenue. And then there is an animated AVL for this, just like there was with Rosetta Great, but it didn't really work very well. But I didn't even bother because it's the same exact thing, only going the opposite direction, really, as what they did with Great. This red line is where he allegedly drove from the stop point here where it's green. Red line here, and then he drove here, and then he went up to Highland, and then he turned right onto 18th. This is Highland right here, and this is 18th, and then you can't really see it because of the red line that he's made, but this is the park, same park where he allegedly took Sherry Ellis to and raped her. And this is the green spot right here that the event that the assault allegedly happened. Same exact place as Sherry Ellis. Now, from this red dot here and this blue line here, and then up and over to this next red dot, there is no AVL map for that at all. That's exactly what happened in Ellis, in Graves' accusation or AVL map. There was no AVL from the time they left 14th and Jordan to the time they got onto Culbertson. There was no AVL for any of that. Only the spot where it took place or where he picked her up and the spot where he dropped her off. And that was it. So this is the map that we see in the police report. This is all we get. This is where this is 18th Street here, 18th and Highlands back this way. This is 18th. This is the little cul-de-sac. I call it the cul-de-sac, where he allegedly stopped and jumped the curb there and then took Lyles, just like Ellis, over here and allegedly assaulted her. Them. And then this over here is Miramar. So we have over here, Daniel enters the cul-de-sac at 1:35:45 a.m. at 5 knots. And then at 1:36:03, he is at 11 knots. And at 1:36:10, 7/10 of a second later, he's at 9 knots. And then I put in this red dotted line here where he drove through the park, just like with Sherry Ellis, and exited onto Miramar and then went north onto Miramar. And that all happened, except for I don't believe Kala Lyles was with him here. I don't think she was anywhere near there. I think she was let go at Lottie. I think she was stopped right here at 16th and Lottie, as it shows. And I think that's where she was let go. And it shows here that at 1:21:55 a.m., he was going 45 knots, turned right onto 16th. And then he stopped her, which is this dot here at 1:26:55, 0 knots. And that's exactly 5 minutes from here to here. And then from here to from this spot here at 0 knots, 5 minutes later, he's over here and he's picked up his speed now, going 11 knots. That's it. That's all we have. All that other stuff in between, we don't have that. Oh, that's Kala Lyles.
Hey,
I guess I should show.
Can you go back to the first map or any map that shows Miramar in the park, the proximity of Miramar to the park? Because they should have called Kala Lyles for a witness on Sherry Ellis's part of the case, because she says that maybe he got nervous because of traffic on Miramar. So she's acknowledging that wasn't exactly hidden right there.
Right. Yeah.
Like the state tries to say that it's this rapey, abandoned schoolyard where no one could see. But she acknowledges that traffic on Miramar could see.
Yeah. And, and like we said, when we went and traveled down Miramar, we went to Miramar a couple different times when we were in Oklahoma City. There's like 6 houses going north right there right in front of where these girls were both allegedly raped. 6 houses. But that's a whole other thing. So you guys know me in the AVL. That's probably my biggest hang up with all of these things is the ABLs.
Well,
The ABLs.
it is suspicious that on some of these accusers, they give you an AVL map from when he came into contact with the person, called him in, to the whole route of his AVL to where he allegedly transported them to. But why with Rosetta Great and Kala Lyles? Is there another one that you found, Rhonda, that only has
Not
the beginning and the end?
No, I haven't found any others yet at this point. But I hadn't honestly really noticed that until we were going through Rosetta Great. So I told you guys last week or the week before, I'm going to be looking a lot closer at these other ABL maps because I think every one of those ABL maps are doctored in some way. And I could be wrong, but it's so suspicious to me that Rosetta Great and Kala Lyles are the exact same scenarios as far as ABL maps go. There's the beginning point and there's the alleged end point, but there's nothing in between. When in every other ABL map I've shown you guys, there's all sorts of, we saw it with Regina Copeland. He transported her from Kellam, 14th and Kellam, over to wherever it was, and he called it in. And I disagree with Bates. I'm disagreeing with Bates, and I know who the fuck do I think I am, but I don't think that Daniel neglected to call in the 1014 or the transport. I don't think it ever happened. I just don't think it happened. Because every other time he's transported an accuser, he's called it in. And it could just be me, but I'm not buying it. I don't think that it was that he neglected to put it on the field or the daily activity card or anything else. I believe that call was roughly 12 or 13 minutes. And that was it. I don't think there was any transporting anywhere. I think that's all a lie from Kala. That's just me. Dragonfly, I don't recognize your name, but welcome. And thanks for, check it out. Check out the replay for sure. And hopefully you've subscribed. That would be awesome. And thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. I don't know, man. Mazzy says, I do struggle about blaming the women when they are just pawns, aren't they? Pawns? Pawns? Maybe?
Mm-hmm.
They were used. I believe they were all manipulated and twisted and, I believe they were. But I also believe for the most part, most of these women at some point knew they were lying. And they had the choice to not lie or to come clean about the lie, at some point. So, sorry, Liam. They consistently made accusations after getting in trouble with the law, and the later ones jumping on the bandwagon after being informed by detectives. Yeah, that's what I think.
And I think they all believed that at least some of the women were telling the truth. So they were they were piling on is what they were doing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Well, and Mazzy, I've always said that I feel I have a lot of sadness for Terry Morris because of what what I think was done to her by Rocky Gregory and Tim Musney. And I believe that Sherry Ellis was raped by a short black cop. I believe that's entirely possible. And I think, like we've talked about in that clip of the eight or so minute clip with Sherry Ellis in her deposition, I feel like you see that coming through, like, oh my God, what have I done? I've accused an innocent man, because it wasn't this white cop that I didn't recognize in court that they told me was the one who raped me. I don't know. So, I don't know. It's, I wish I had a way of knowing if for a fact Daniel called in that, well, he didn't call in the transport, it's not there. I wish I had a way of knowing for a fact if he transported her or not. I don't think he did. And I'm not saying that Bates doesn't know what he's talking about, or he didn't investigate thoroughly enough or whatever. I'm not saying that, because he's definitely the investigator. But I just can't help but, it's just what I believe.
So,
And
do you
I
think
see proof I can't be changed.
Do you think they just fed her the story about the rapey park, or?
Yeah, I do. I do. And in that in episode 23 that we listened to, Bates even says that, well, it's pointed out, and you just have to be paying attention when we read the transcripts to catch it. But I feel like we've caught it before. We catch it with Adara Gardner and somebody else, where the prosecutor, where Galen Gigger has met with these accusers one-on-one before, and it's never been reported anywhere.
Yeah.
So I believe that, because Kala Lyles' accusation, when she's telling that initial 20-minute long story, none of that was making any sense. It was very confusing. And Kim and Valerie, Kim pressed her a little bit about the, now how is his gun hitting you in the butt if you were giving him head? She pressed her on that a little bit, but the rest of Kala Lyles' story was just garbage from the get-go. It didn't even make sense, her story. And then it just got worse at preliminary, and I think Liam said it somewhere up back a little bit ago, and I put it on the screen, but he said something like she was having a hard time remembering what she had been told to remember, or something. I can't remember exactly what it was that you said, Liam, but let's see. Oh, here it is. It's as if she's trying to recall a memory of someone telling her what happened exactly. That's what I feel like too. So.
Well, so she's in custody 11, 13, 15. The trial was already going on at that point.
Yeah.
I'm going to look and see what day she testified.
Yeah, she would have been in, I'm trying to think, would she have been in custody? Because we know Rosetta Great was in custody, Tabitha Barnes was in custody. Oh no, well, Tabitha wasn't in custody.
It would make sense that prosecutor went and talked to her in jail.
Yeah.
The first time she talked to, what'd she say? The first time she talked to the prosecutor, she was in jail?
I think that's what Bates said. Yeah, it's just insane to try to unravel her whole story. And I've been able to listen to some of her deposition, and that lady was on something when she was giving her deposition. That's just my opinion, just because I've been around.
Whatever. She was so smashed.
In the picture of her, even the picture you have shown of her, she looks like really stoned.
Yeah.
Something.
And she does. And the way she spoke in that deposition was just like, what? And very didn't make sense at all, and very strange. It was just really weird. She was stoned on something for sure. I allegedly, in my opinion, I'm speculating, but there's 2 more people on this panel who agree with me. So anyway, trying to think of some other things I wanted to bring out about her. I mean, I don't even know if just because it's interesting, but because he was found not guilty on her, I don't even know if we need to go through with reading her preliminary and her trial transcripts, but they're pretty rough. So for entertainment, I don't mean to make light of it, but for entertainment purposes or just hearing purposes. Hey, Cherie. Oh, you popped on for a second.
Yuck. I wanted to say something. What was I going to say? I can't remember.
Now you're all flustered.
I am. Yep. You have to cut that out.
I'm not cutting anything. No. No, that messes everything up when I have to do an edit.
I know.
I don't know what it certainly wasn't accent or patois. I don't know what that is, Liam.
Patois? Is he talking French?
Yeah, patois. Liam says, just tape over the camera. Anyway, I don't know. So I just thought Bates' breakdown was so compelling that was the best.
I looked up patois, and it's like a dialect or vernacular way of speaking.
Oh no, it definitely was an accent or patois. It was absolutely stoned dialect. But anyway, that's, I shouldn't say anything. It's not anything that I have, the ability to share with everybody. So you can't judge for yourself. But anyway, I'm just flabbergasted by her the fact that they even let that get into trial, that they even allowed that to be a case is beyond me. I mean, they should have dropped her by the time they got her through preliminary. They should have dropped her case altogether. But,
I know what I was going to say now.
Okay.
When you were talking about whether or not to do the transcripts at all, I thought I personally would vote to, because it's not hiding anything, being open, putting it all out there kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we'll read them. You are lurking really late, TJ, but I'm glad you're here anyway.
Hey, I'm going to play just a little. I'm going to play just a little clip of this deposition just to hear. Hang on just a second.
Okay. So, Jack, you've been awfully quiet. What have you got to say?
Oh, I'm just taking it all in. You ladies have covered it far better than I could. Now, I asked some questions earlier, so I'm good. I'm all good.
All right, here we go.
We're not hearing anything, Kay, if you're playing it.
Yeah, she'll have to share her source with you.
Just share your screen.
Oh, hang on. Okay. I have so many freaking things. Hang on a second. Oh my God, I have 5,000 windows open. Carry on. I'm going to send you this link and you can just queue it up to where it is if you want.
Okay, do you know where you want it to be?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? That's what I think. Absolutely, Liam. You know, throw everything out there and they know they're going to confuse the jury. So TJ had to build a fence. All right. Let's talk some more about Kim Davis. Can't get enough of her. Not. Oh yeah, we had to hear her foul mouth in her recorded interview with what's her name, Kayla. Anyway,
I put it in Discord.
Oh, okay, here we go. At 1:32:06. Okay. Oops.
Somebody making margaritas?
I'm wondering. I was trying to figure out what to ask. It was. Sounds like a blender. Mashed potatoes.
I think it's at your house, Rhonda.
Cherie, are you cooking dinner?
No, I'm on mute. I'm not cooking anything.
Muted. I don't know. I don't know
really
what it.
Strange. It doesn't happen all the time. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, you know, if you're making mixed drinks, I'll take a Crown and Coke. Thanks.
We'll zoom it right over to you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. This isn't an acro. Let's see. Okay. It's a tiny bit before where Kay had me cue it up.
Yeah, that's fine. If you didn't hear what I was playing, that's especially fine.
Probation officer, you were raped. What were you feeling? What were you thinking?
I thought that's what you said. I didn't call no probation officer.
Okay, what made you come forward to law enforcement about what happened to you? Why'd you do it is my question.
The thing that was right. It's like a boogeyman under your bed. It was thing that was right. It was like a boogeyman on your bed.
Okay. And believe me, I'm not suggesting anything about if you should have come forward earlier. I'm not saying that. I'm just asking why you didn't come forward right after it happened.
Because that's like that. Later. Okay, that's like the police. The police rep you gonna call the police again?
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Okay, if the police raped you or not, what you gonna do? Call the police and have that same person that's on duty come back and get you again?
Okay. Counsel asked you if you've ever been treated for mental health issues within the last 5 years.
And
you said no.
Crazy.
And now
go past that.
Anyway.
This is why we can't have nice things.
You know, That's the first time that I've seen Kala Lyles.
Oh man.
Like that, in a video. I hadn't seen that before.
She's hard to understand. That's for sure.
Yeah.
About a boogeyman under a bed, and I just that the attorney who's questioning her is Doug Johnson. He's one of KZ's partners, and he, I know Cherie and I, and probably Kay as well. We get a big kick out of him. He's pretty damn good, and he's pretty damn funny, and
he's a huge smart ass for sure.
Smart ass. There you go. That's
I mean, he doesn't put up with any shit from from opposing counsel.
Right. Yep.
Are we gonna watch any more of that?
Well, there's an issue with.
Okay.
With that, I should have previewed this.
Well, it's okay. We hadn't.
I can say it's okay. I can say what the issue is.
Okay.
The federal judge in the civil rights lawsuit, it's not actually a gag order. He sealed anything to do with their medical records. So unless they put it in a police report already, that's a matter of public record, then so far it hasn't been unsealed to be used. That'll happen. It will happen for post-conviction, though.
I see.
I'm sure it will. It just hasn't right now. So playing on a YouTube video, her answer, I don't remember if she answers honestly or not, that question here, but I didn't want to find out.
Yeah, gotcha.
I don't remember what she says.
Yeah. I don't remember either, but yeah, I mean, there's some really interesting things we'd love to be able to share, but I just don't have permission. So, I mean, yeah. So anyway, but that's just an idea. That's just a piece. That's just a tiny little part because her entire deposition is like that. She's hard to understand. And I could tell in Doug Johnson's, his question and in his tone, like, wait, what the fuck are you trying to say? Because I can't understand you. You hearing the buzz still? I don't know what's buzzing. There's no.
I do remember she gets really mad at him at the end, doesn't she?
Yeah, she gets pretty pissed off because he doesn't understand her gibberish. He gets all butthurt about it.
I can't remember why she got mad. I thought it was something he asked her. I mean, she's already pretty maybe it was just going into the mental health stuff. It could have been.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know. I'll have to talk to Kay and others, but I mean, it's possible that we could make little clips of different things here and there, and share like I did with the Sherry Ellis and Tabitha Barnes.
Yeah, the issue is just not violating a judge's order for one thing, and then the other thing is that not blasting on a YouTube video things that are going to be used in the post-conviction effort.
Right.
Right. I mean, who knows? Who knows who previews these shows?
Exactly. I like to think there's a whole crew of people on the state side just listening to everything we say every week.
Oh, I like to hope that they're not.
Yeah.
So when my dumb ass says something wrong, that it's not a big
It's all
deal.
good. Also, I wanted to say, last week I made a mistake in the show last week. If anybody's watching and wondering why there's no live chat replay, if you're watching on replay, I said something I wasn't supposed to say last week, and so I had to go edit that out. And so none of the content as far as the transcript was edited out. That was all fluent, and it was just a comment that I made in between there that I had to get rid of. So that's the reason why there's no live chat replay. And I don't understand why YouTube does that. Somebody told me that you can actually go somewhere into the YouTube studio and click for that to play anyway, the live chat to replay anyway when you edit, but I looked and looked and looked and I couldn't find it. So there's no live chat replay on last week's video. So I know, mess up your live chat. That's exactly what I did. Anyway, we'll get together. Me and the girls will get together this weekend, and we'll see if there isn't something from, Lyle's thing that we can play just to kind of give you a better flavor of how strange she is and how weird she is when she speaks. I mean, you could hear it anyway, I guess, during the audio interview that Kim Davis recorded, but when you put a face to it, it makes it even more interesting.
To be fair, Kim was really more interested in talking about Daniel's junk than anything else. That's clear. Why go into all these extraneous details about him versus her? It was, yeah. I just see an agenda with her always about that.
Yeah.
I picked it up right away, maybe because I'm a dude. I don't know.
Well,
I'm
it's
sure you
something
guys
that's always bothered. No, it's always bothered you about her, though.
Well, it a little bit okay, but it's whenever she can, and then some. It's not just getting to me, it's always that extra 3 or 4 miles or 5 that she goes after talking about that. And it's unnecessary. It's really unprofessional as well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also agree with the crap that she puts into the conversation.
Yep.
That she's always trying to add something into the conversation, suggest something that is something that that is common in another accuser's accounting. She always does that.
Yeah.
Oh, because you were afraid. Whatever, you didn't come forward because you were afraid. Just things like that, for example.
She was afraid of getting losing her probation status and going to prison. I think that's what she was afraid of.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she sure was.
It's hard for me to believe that she got cleaned up enough to give a clean UA. If she did that, that was a complete plan to get cleaned up, use Holtzclaw to get out of having her probation revoked. Because what did Regina Copeland say she did after she got raped? Or what did Terry Morris say she did after she got raped? Went off the rails with addiction.
Yep. Well, and because let's just say that I don't know, it that wasn't going to make any sense, so never mind. TJ says, who was the first person to bring up Daniel's name as a suspect? Well, that was Kim Davis was the first one that said his name. On the 18th when he got pulled in for the interrogation. So
bring up his name to an accuser? probably
Oh,
Janie. I mean, it had to be Janie Liggins, but because Kim Davis wasn't involved in the initial interview of Terry Morris, where, she had that, whatever it was, excited utterance or true claim of being raped by a police officer in the 911 call when she was going to get arrested for tearing up her ex-boyfriend's car. They did investigate that claim. This is before the Janie Liggins traffic stop. And Daniel was the last officer to pull her over on May 8th. Although, that stop happened or that 911 call was on May 24th, and she claimed at that time that she had been assaulted 2 or 3 days before on the 20th or 21st. So,
but none of the accusers said his name, though. None of the accusers ever used his name during their reports or anything. His name was always mentioned, via Rocky putting it in the report or Kim putting it in her report. They always said Officer Holtzclaw or Daniel Holtzclaw, but none of the accusers ever said his name. To my knowledge, go ahead.
The ones that said they saw it on TV, so Regina Copeland, so she would have already seen his name and a picture of him. Same here with Kala Lyles. She had already seen it on TV, so she knew she had access to his name, and she had seen the photograph. He had also stopped her, 3 times. So she had contact with him 3 times. And what did they say? Since April, I think is what Bates said.
Yes.
I think if you see Daniel Holtzclaw one time, especially if you're standing beside him.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe sitting down would be more dramatic, but I'll never forget the first time I came into contact with him. And I have a very clear vision in my head of how huge he is. I mean, he's still big, but he was bigger then than he is now.
Buff.
Crazy. Yeah, very buff.
But they still, like Rhonda said, they didn't say his name. They said they saw him on TV, but they didn't say Daniel Holtzclaw. Crap, Kala Lyles still can't even say his name now after all of this and the whole civil suit and everything. She calls him Holtzclaw. OFL.
Well, so does Janie Liggins and Terry Morris. They say Holtzclaw too. It makes me crazy. So, but Kayla's worse. She just, because everything she's saying is bad.
She's just so messed up.
Yeah, she really is.
It's like she took a bunch of Valium or something right before that. It's some sort of a downer she's on.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. Yeah, for sure.
I'd probably need a Valium if I was going to do a deposition too, but I wouldn't be smashed like that.
Hell no. Well, and we also have a pretty good idea, in Janie Liggins' deposition that she might be, off on the wild stuff. So, but we don't have proof of that. It's just, those of us who have experience, or know people that have used drugs or, whatever. I mean, if you know, as much as I hate that phrase, but if you know, you know. And so, I don't know. Good night, Mazzy. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you. We appreciate your support very much, and we appreciate your comments and joining in. But yeah, so we could talk about this all night, but probably rather than doing the police report, we just did these podcasts from Bates. We'll probably start with the preliminary, reading the preliminary next week, and possibly even her trial testimony. Her preliminary is not very long, as far as I can recall. As far as I can recall, but we'll at least do the preliminary, and perhaps even get into her trial testimony as well. Now, Kim also testifies in her case, so we'll have to, we're going to have to suffer through some Kim testimony again in a couple weeks. But all right, that's what we're here for. So, all right. So I think that's where we're going to cut this off, and I'll just start ending by asking Jack if he has any further comments he'd like to make.
No, I think I'm good. Been an interesting little review here.
What's coming up on your shows?
Saturday, where we'll be back with Reading with the Crew with another rebuttal for episode 7. I've started making just some short clips that we can review and talk about. Probably, I don't know if I'll do, maybe we'll do a little bit about Brendan, but Brendan is such a different and really deserves its own basic rebuttal by itself, because they really went after Brendan. They went after Making a Murderer, a really stark change from the prior episodes, and what Making a Murderer left out. The fact is they're leaving stuff out too, and they're putting on people that are really talking a lot of hearsay. That's been the first 5 or 6 episodes. This one was a stark contrast. They talked about Adam FL quite a bit, and so there's going to be. I'm going to create like 4 or 5, probably minute or 2 clips that we can discuss. People, and we can discuss whatever, but it's going to be a rebuttal this Saturday. And
we'll have episode 8 by then as well.
That's right, we will. And I'm sure we may touch on that as well. We'll see what's in it, because that's the bones. And I can just feel Duke, well, he probably wants to hear from Puzzled quite a bit more, Puzzled by it all, because he really likes that guy.
And so for those of you who are listening to the replay of this, Jack is talking about the Foul Play YouTube channel. You can catch his shows there, or Foul Play Discord channel on Saturdays and Sundays.
Thank you, Kay.
So get on over there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Stephen Avery case and the Brendan Dassey case.
Yep. And Sunday, we'll see what happens on Sunday, but probably we're going to continue on listening to the 2022 Open Records Request for Radio transmissions that we went through them last year, but it's a good time to review and to see what we can get through. Maybe have a little discussion about episode 8 as well, because by then we'll have had time to digest a little bit more. Just remember, for convicting a murderer, doing these like little mini reviews on Saturdays and a little bit on Sunday is fine. But it's only fair, I think, until they're all played, till we do a full review. We can review, episode 1 and 2, however many we choose to try to address as a rebuttal as a whole. Because, it's probably going to change flavors a couple of more times before we get to the end. So that's going to be coming, on down the road. Thanks, Kay. Rhonda.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, always check out foul play, of course. Absolutely. Without foul play, I wouldn't be here. Without Jack, I wouldn't be here. And without Kay, I wouldn't be here. So, yeah, absolutely.
You'd be here.
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, I'm going to tell her. I'm telling her about watching Daniel in the den, and that was it. She was done.
I was off. Off to the races.
I think she sent me a DM or something that said, "What the F?" I won't say it on here, but "What the F bomb?" Something like that. I remember.
Yeah.
She was blown away.
Yeah, I was rather disgusted. Rather disgusted. Yay for Jack and Kay, absolutely.
Well, you know, it's a really, really shitty feeling to live in a state where this kind of thing is so common that it's even hard to point it out. It's such a common occurrence that no one's really shocked by this kind of corruption and just all the shadiness, not just with the police officers, detectives,
No.
DA's office, even to the Oklahoma Court of Criminal Appeals. And
judges
beyond.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's another thing that, you know, I think we've all learned over the last many years of, you know, really having our eyes really opened to this underside of the criminal justice system. We see this pretty much in every state. And I knew that there was some, but I had no idea. And it's everywhere. And it's not that we hate the police or hate prosecutors. That's not it at all. We just like dishonest ones.
Yeah. I mean, our governor's such a jackwagon. Thankfully, we have Oklahoma County has a really decent district attorney. And it seems, even though our Attorney General, Gentner Drummond, is one of those tough on crime guys, you know, he seems to have a moral compass. And that's refreshing. Susan and I are going to an open records workshop in Tulsa next week that is being put on by the Attorney General's office. So that's cool.
I'm excited.
That would have never happened with the at least two previous attorneys general.
Could you record it? How long is it?
I can record it on my phone if it picks up. We'll try to sit close to the speaker, so we'll be getting her voice and the mic, or whoever. I say her. I don't know who's putting it on, actually. Seems like something a woman should do. Sorry.
That wasn't sexist at all.
Oh, well, you know, that shit happens.
Oh, no. It is what it is. Truth is truth. It's all good.
Hey, yeah. I'm not even sorry, actually.
No, I wouldn't be either. I was just thinking of a different thing. I was just thinking of something else, so it's fine. I just want to read, TJ says, I was born and raised here. We need cops, but I've been the victim of law enforcement, court, and judges since I was a teenager, even when my identity was stolen. So it's been that way for a long, long time. And that's, you know what, that's it, TJ. And, you know, back to what Kay was saying, it's not, I feel bad sometimes when I'm constantly ragging about how corrupt Oklahoma is, Oklahoma County. But I feel kind of bad because, you know, my good friend Kay lives in Oklahoma City, and, you know, TJ, he lives in Oklahoma. And, you know, I feel bad that I'm always like just, you know, constantly bitching about your state and your city, your county, your city. But it's just, it is what, that's just what I found. And going back, I've said it 100 times, at least to Bob Macy. I don't know what went on before Bob Macy was in the DA's office, but it's it's hard to. Hey, thank you, James Crane, for foul play. We appreciate you jumping in and joining the membership crew over there. I know that's not for our channel because we don't have that. So anyway, squirrel. But it's just, what we've seen and what we've read and what we know as far as the corruption and how far back it goes. And so it's not like it's ever really let up. It just seems like it's been a string of corrupt DAs and judges and so what else can you say? If that's what it is, that's what it is.
We did have an exoneration today out
Yay.
of Oklahoma, down in Ada. Grisham wrote a book about the case down in Ada. This was not related to it, but I'm just say that to say that county is corrupt as hell.
I thought you were going to say it was Tommy Ward.
No, it's Perry Lott. He spent 35 years in prison. I think Serial did a series on his case. Perry Lott, Lott.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Wasn't there also a movie done on it?
Not on Perry's story, but on
Tommy
what was
Ward.
it called?
Innocent Man.
Yeah, The Innocent
Man.
I think you're thinking of Ronnie Lott, Rhonda. He was.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
No,
when you said Lott, I thought you.
Oh no, I know Ronnie Lott. I know who that is. He was another falsely accused and convicted individual in Oklahoma City. So, really a lot of what I've learned about the corruption in Oklahoma, I've gotten from the Mark Furman book, Death and Justice. So there's a lot of history in that book and a lot of, what I've learned through investigating Daniel's case, a lot of factual corruption. So it's a very good book. I recommend it whenever we think about it, but two makes a lot. That's right. Man, you're funny. Yeah. So anyway, it's nothing personal. It's just, I wish that you didn't have to live in a place that is so corrupt. I wish there was no corruption, I guess, is really what it comes down to. So, but there is, and it's not just Oklahoma, not just Wisconsin. There's not just Texas. It's all over. Some places are just more prominent and a little worse than others, I think. So
people just like to feel really important and advance themselves, I think that's why a lot of that happens,
Yeah. Egos.
Look at Giger. He made it all the way to the Attorney General's office now.
Oh, that's just horrible in my opinion.
Gregory, he's a homicide detective now.
Which is terrifying. God. But
maybe if Henderson could have kept his junk in his pants, he would have made it up to the Court of Criminal Appeals or somewhere. Some more prestigious judge.
Thank God he didn't keep it in his pants.
Oh, no kidding. No kidding. Yeah, he's just dirty too. And it's not the judge that replaced him, there's controversy around her as well. So
yeah, I wish we had some
Just-
documentation of that.
You know.
So she can't keep it in her pants either? Is that what you're saying?
Well, she does keep it in her pants. I don't know.
There was a girl, Kathy something, and she had been a victim of Henderson as far as feeling like she got screwed in his court. He foreclosed on her home, and according to her, he copped an attitude against her and wasn't fair with her. And she had such a vendetta that she spent, I don't know how many years, sitting in his courtroom every day, following him around. And she alleged that he and Trong had a thing. That's what she said. There's no proof of that. So
Yeah.
apparently she saw it with her own eyes, but there's nothing to say that that's real.
Too bad she didn't get video.
No kidding. No kidding. But you know, sometimes even I don't know. It's just the way it's just a part of the justice system, the criminal justice system, and it shouldn't be. And that brings me back to that book by oh my gosh, Jack. What was the name of that book? That former prosecutor. We read it.
Godsey?
Godsey, yeah. Godsey, Mark Godsey's book.
Death and Justice?
No, Mark Godsey, he wrote, oh my God.
I'll find it.
It's, I mean, I have it. I think Jack and I both have it on Audible, and we've listened to
I
it
do.
in Foul Play. And so
Blind Injustice?
That's it. Blind Injustice.
Blind Injustice.
Jazz Naz put it in.
Mm-hmm. Correcto.
Rhonda, I got a notification on Daniel's page that it's not for haters. I said, what? Not a hater at all. And work with groups looking into on Daniel's page. Daniel's Facebook page. I don't know what I'm not really sure what you're. Blind Injustice. Thank you, Jazz Mouse. But yeah, we that's where I, boy, that opened up my eyes a lot. To well, not that I needed it, but solidified, I guess, or verified or validated my thought about how much corruption there can be in prosecution. So, anyway. All right. I'm not really sure under your stars what.
Which page? What page? Where?
Yeah, it was weird. Haven't looked again yet. Yes, on Daniel's Facebook page. So.
Oh, like Daniel Holtzclaw not guilty?
Yeah, Daniel Holtzclaw not guilty. I know who you're talking about there on Facebook. Yeah, there's a couple of Facebook pages for Daniel. Daniel Holtzclaw not guilty, and the other one just slipped my mind. But Glossop. Yeah, I haven't seen anything new on Glossop's at all on his case, and I've been checking periodically. So, okay. So she just got confused between Blossom's Facebook page and Daniel's.
Oh, okay. I'll quit trying to find it.
My mind's a mess too under your stars. Yet I try to do this every week. Like everything's normal. Oh gosh. Okay. So Susan, you've been kind of out and about. You're fine under your scars. It's no big deal. Don't worry about it. This is the problem. You've been kind of playing quite a bit this last several weeks. How are you getting settled back down?
Yeah, I'm good. And I wanted to say, Rhonda, about reading Kala Lyles' pretrial and such. Even though he was not convicted on her charges, and only convicted on 8 of these women, he's innocent on all of them.
Right.
And I think
right. Absolutely.
it's important to go through all of them, because just to show the manipulation, the way the detectives made this case. Yeah.
Oh, of course.
And
Of course.
and the way that it was handled by the judge and everything, I think is important. Even though he wasn't convicted on her charges, and
Right.
and the others that he wasn't convicted on, he's still
Yeah.
innocent
No,
of all. He's innocent of all of them. So yeah.
Absolutely. No, and that's the goal is to get these transcripts out as much as we can. So of course we'll read it, and it's like you said, the more we read, the more light is shed on the lies and the manipulation and whatnot. So it
fabricated is the word I was looking for.
Fabricated. Gosh, I can't even speak.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll read the preliminary next week, and perhaps I'll look at how many pages are in each between her preliminary and her trial testimony, because I'd like to do that if we can, because that's going to be kind of a side by side. You're not having to wait a week and then have to remember, now wait, what did she say in the preliminary? I'd like to do that if we can, because it's so, the contrast and the discrepancies are so stark and so vivid that I want you to kind of be able to, have it kind of side by side. So I will look into that and see. Now the only question I will have is, I agree, Mazzy. There's way too many mistakes for the death penalty to be anywhere in this country. My question is, and I'm just going to throw this out there, and maybe people in the chat will have something to say or have a comment to make, or a preference or whatever. I don't know, but I need to have somebody read the part for Kala Lyles, and that's going to be one of 2 or 3 people. Cherie, I'll offer it to Cherie first.
No, I'll stick with being the judge, the disgraced judge.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll decide who wants to read Giger and who wants to read Kala Lyles' parts for next week, between Susan and Kay. Both of them are good and entertaining. So that's what we'll do next week.
Her trial testimony is 58 pages.
Oh, you know what? It'll be long, but we can get through both. We can do.
I think you said prelim was 25 pages.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah.
Would that be her for 25?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's 25. So, you know, we know it'll be a long one, but all of them have been long lately. So who cares? It's just what it is now. But we'll do both the preliminary and the trial testimony next week. So that will be really good. That can, then you'll have it'll be fresh in your mind what she said between preliminary and trial. So, all right. Anybody have any last comments that they would like to throw out there? And
I think we're good.
plugs?
Thanks for doing.
Right.
Thanks for doing this. More info on the case.
Oh, of course. Yep, absolutely. Like I said before, you know, this is pretty much all we can really do. So, you know, we do what we can. So, all right. Well, like always, you know, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Like, and, you know, please give us the thumbs up, and comments. I'm loving comments when I'm reading comments in the different videos. I love those. I check them multiple times a day. So if I don't catch your comment right away, I will catch it, you know, very, very soon. So don't be afraid to, you know, ask questions and, you know, share opinions or viewpoints or things that you don't agree with. You know, if there's something that we're talking about that we're sharing that you don't agree with, or that is funny to you or suspicious to you, let's talk about it in the comment section. For, you know, absolutely. But for I think until next Tuesday, how many more Tuesday night shows do I need to have, Jack? Are there 2 more episodes of?
There's 3 more episodes. 8
Okay.
and 10.
So, well, this would be, so we just have 9 and 10. I only have 2 more that I do on Tuesday, right? For episode 9 and episode 10.
No,
Yes,
8, no,
that'd be
8,
right.
8, 9, and 10. So there'll be.
But
Oh
it
yeah,
is
because
tomorrow.
Okay.
yeah,
Tomorrow's
that's
8.
right.
Okay, awesome.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, then until next Tuesday at 5 p.m. Central, right back here or right back on Foul Play, if that's where you like to go. Peace out.
Good night.